Okay. Hopefully this is working. Okay, it is. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this is working. Okay, it is. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to Mr. Rock's Wrestlemania 42 review with your host, Mr. Rock. I got a lot to say, so let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk about the Hall of Fame before WrestleMania 42. I thought that the WrestleMania Hall of Fame, or whatever you want to call the damn thing, was quite a fucking joke. I hate to say it, but it was kind of a fucking joke. I don't know if anyone watched the Hall of Fame. I watched a little bit of it because technically I missed it because they didn't advertise the goddamn time in a way. Like, it wasn't heavily advertised at all. And if you were trying to watch that on YouTube, like for us in Canada, they really didn't advertise it. So it was literally like quite a bit of a joke. I heard Stephanie went over an hour or something like that, or close to an hour. And honestly, she doesn't deserve an hour. I hate to say that. And not only that, but technically, if you actually looked at Stephanie McMahon's career, in a way, she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame with her family, not individually. And I'm going to tell you the reason why she doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame individually. Her legacy is very known in the Attitude Era as being a stinking trash bag HO. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube yet, but you could spell it. But yeah, like that was her reputation, you know, like Chris Jericho called her that. The Rock called her that. Even Triple H, her husband, called her that. They got to the point back in the Attitude Era that that was what she was known as. And at the end of the day, you know, like if you grew up in the 90s and 2000s, you've seen it, you know. And yeah, I just thought that's like to literally give Stephanie a standing ovation for that long didn't make sense. Now, they could have put her individually, but she does not deserve a whole entire hour. What she deserved is roughly about maybe tops 10 to 20 minutes. 20 minutes tops. She doesn't need to write a whole entire love letter to Triple H, you know, and everything else. You know why she doesn't deserve a love letter to Triple H? Because on the anniversary, this is the one thing that made me sick to my gut. And I had to look this up because someone literally pointed this out to me, and I did not know that was true. It was the 10-year anniversary of China. That's right, China's death, guys. And you got Stephanie McMahon sitting there talking about Triple H with a love letter. Like I said, China was a good friend to both me and my mom. We still miss China to this day. Joni, rest in peace. We respect you. We always have loved you. But to literally do that to her legacy, in a way, Stephanie McMahon shouldn't have done that. I understand that she might love her husband, and that's fine. But to literally tell a whole entire love story on the anniversary of China's death? Do you understand the reason why China fell into depression? That's what I'm talking about. Now, for the other Hall of Famers, in a way, Sid Vicious, I felt that they did dirty. Sid Vicious should have fucking headlined this fucking show. I hate to say it, but he really should have. Him or AJ Styles. Don't get me wrong. AJ deserves his props as well. I'm not disowning AJ Styles. But yeah, like I sat there watching the Hall of Fame and like I seen some of it. And I remember just going to myself going, what are they doing? What are they really doing? And to literally dishonor Sid Vicious like that. Psycho Sid, Sid Justice, whatever you want to call him. The Udi family, I think they're called, or I'm sorry if I'm literally saying it right. Eddie, Udi, whatever. Is a disjustice to Sid Justice. The guy main evented two WrestleManias, WrestleMania 8 and WrestleMania 13, which he fought both Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker in the main event of WrestleMania. The guy literally won multiple multiple world champions in the 90s with both WCW and WWF. He beat your little fucking boy toy there, Vince McMahon. Your little boy toy, your little fucking little heartbreak kid Shawn Michaels for the title at Survivor Series 1996. And you're going to say, well, that's not Vince's boy toy. Oh, yes, it was. Oh, hell yeah, that was. Just go back to the curtain call of 1996. As everyone else got fucking punished or left, in a way, Shawn didn't get punished at all, and he was the champion. If I was the promoter, I would have stripped him of that title right away because he literally broke kayfabe. He literally showed that technically wrestling is just a big freaking joke, in a way. All four guys literally showed that wrestling was a joke. Triple H, Shawn, and the outsiders, but the outsiders were already leaving, so they didn't care, in a way. But yeah, but to literally do the boy, but to do the Justice family was just disrespectful. Literally, not even what, a 90-second video package. I think it was. I think it was 90 seconds. Maybe it was shorter. It felt shorter actually. And then they showed his family, and I'm literally sitting there going, "That's it." They're not even going to let the family get up and literally grab the freaking trophy off the podium? Maybe make a little tiny bit of a speech? No, they give the whole entire fucking hour to Stephanie McMahon. And I felt like it was disjustice. I don't know how WWE literally can do a Hall of Fame. They should shut it down, shut down the Hall of Fame, reformat this fucking thing, because it literally absolutely sucks, in a way, to literally do that. And then even like Bad News Brown, I heard that he got the same treatment. I didn't see Bad News Brown Hall of Fame, but I heard he got the same treatment as Sid Justice. And I literally thought to myself, well, yeah, Bad News Brown wasn't as big as Sid Justice, don't get me wrong, but he does deserve a speech. The family could have got up and literally give them a little bit of a tiny speech. I heard there was no speech. I just heard that they showed the family as well with a little tiny video package. And I'm thinking to myself, why? These people were in more of a Hall of Fame, in my opinion. They wrestled. They literally did their life. You know, Bad News Brown, okay, maybe didn't really have the persona as Sid Vicious and the rest of them. But he still was in Wrestlemania, I think, what was it, 6? Against Roddy Piper? I know that they don't want to talk about that match. Trust me. Because of the frickin' thing with Roddy Piper. I can't really go into detail, but if you go watch that match with Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown, you understand what I'm talking about. But to literally do it disjustice like that, you know, like to the family of Bad News Brown, it's this Hall of Fame legacy bullshit needs to stop. WWE and TKO needs to frickin' stop. Okay, so before anyone literally comes in, I am talking about the Hall of Fame before I talk about WrestleMania 42. Don't get me wrong, I will be talking about WrestleMania 42. So, but I am bringing this up because I feel like this needs to be brought up because, yeah, the Hall of Fame became a big fucking joke. Then I seen Dennis Rodman. I seen the whole entire thing. I did watch Dennis Rodman live. It was great to see him and everything else. Trust me, NWO for life. It's right on my T-shirt right there. But even like Dennis Rodman, in a way, you know, he got a standing ovation and everything else. He got represented by the freaking NWO. But the one thing that didn't make sense to me, and I remember watching this, is why was the Wolfpack music playing? He was never a member of the Wolfpack. Never a member of the Wolfpack. He was a member of the NWO. He was a member of the NWO Elite. But he was never a member of the Wolfpack, to be honest. And that's where people literally go, huh? You know? Because, yeah, when the NWO Elite came around, he was a member for a tiny bit, I heard. And then he left. So, but when you had the Wolfpack music and you had Sean Waltman and Kevin Nash coming out to it, it was really fucking confusing because Sean Waltman was never a member of the Wolfpack. Another one that wasn't a member. He was only a member of the NWO. That was it. Kevin Nash, yes, he was a member of the Wolfpack, but I'm literally thinking to myself, why is Wolfpack music playing? And then it literally made sense to me. Because Kevin Nash probably thought he was bigger than the NWO. It made sense. He's the last remaining member. You got Hulk gone, you got Scott Hall gone. He must thought he was the biggest member to have that music playing. And don't get me wrong, Wolfpack music is good, but it's not good if the person wasn't actually in, you know. Now, the original members of the Wolfpack was Sting, Kevin Nash, Macho Man Randy Savage. Just trying to remember the rest of them. I don't think there was that many, actually. I think there was only like maybe 4 or 5 members. I just can't remember the rest, but I know it was Macho, Sting, and Kevin Nash. Oh yeah, Lex Luger was a member, but there wasn't that many members. And not only that, but it faded. You know, it only lasted about maybe half a year, the Wolfpack, and then it was gone. It literally started in like I think May of '98, and then literally ended by literally I think November or December of '98. The Wolfpack was pretty much done. It might even ended sooner. I don't remember exactly, but it probably ended sooner. But yeah, I do feel that Dennis Rodman did say enough in a way. He got his standing ovation. He deserves a standing ovation. Don't get me wrong. He was the original member. He did wrestle in WCW, even though people might disagree with me and say, well, technically Dennis Rodman doesn't deserve it. No, he does. You know, like he wrestled with Hulk Hogan against Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone. I feel that Karl Malone should be inducted to the Hall of Fame sometime soon. If you're going to induct Dennis Rodman, you should induct Karl Malone. It makes sense to me. Um, but they never did. You know, and then also like Jay Leno. I don't know if Jay Leno's in the Hall of Fame or not, but Jay Leno literally did wrestle one match, I think. So I'm just literally going by what they're literally doing, you know. So, um, but yeah, I do feel that Dennis Rodman deserves it, and I feel like yeah, you know. And then we get to the AJ Styles Hall of Fame speech. I don't know if anyone else seen this, but the feed was off for 20 damn minutes. It was a black screen. I literally thought the internet was literally done on my end. I literally thought, well, technically, and then I go back to the damn thing, and it's still literally not playing. And I don't understand. Like they're trying to tell us that it was 5 minutes. No, no, no. I sat for that damn freaking thing. It was 20 minutes that they killed AJ Styles freaking thing, and I have a funny feeling I know why they did it because I feel that they were showing TNA footage. I have a funny feeling that they were showing TNA footage and they didn't have the license to TNA because TNA and WWE literally were in talks in a way, but I don't feel like they had the footage to literally show that. You know, because here's one thing: when the feed came back, it was only WWE footage. I didn't see any TNA footage. That's why I literally say it was TNA footage because you didn't really see any of TNA footage. You know, so that's why I feel that why they literally did that. Of course, they said that it was communication things and everything else. But how about the people that were sitting there? Did the lights go out for them? I would like to know from people that actually were at the Hall of Fame event. Did it actually go out for them? Now, if it went out for them, then I'll shut up. But if it didn't go out for them and the freaking Hall of Fame freaking thing was still going on and everything else, then I understand that they probably just literally shut the freaking feed down. They literally said, well, technically there was the servers and everything. No, 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 no. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay? Multi-billion-dollar company. You trying to tell me that you can't figure this out? You know? So, yeah. I just feel that that was pretty bad as well. Demolition, on the other hand, I feel that Demolition was actually okay. I did see the Demolition thing. I was kind of happy I caught that. I mean, that was the first thing I caught actually was Demolition. I feel like their speech was good. You know, I did like that they took a shot at Stephanie in a way. I'm glad that they did because yeah, they said, well, technically, everything was said by her. That needs to be said, and it got to the point where it was like, okay, yeah, you got a point. Do I feel Demolition deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I do. They earned it. They wrestled at WrestleMania. What was it? 6, 7, I think, 6 and 7. Um, I don't know what other WrestleManias they wrestled at because I wasn't alive, but I do remember that they wrestled at WrestleMania 6 and 7 because I was born in 1990 and that was the first WrestleMania. Was 7 for me that I was alive for. So yeah. Um, but yeah. Uh, so now let's get into it. WrestleMania 42, or as I'm going to call it, Advertising Mania, because there was nothing more than a whole bunch of advertising. But let's get into the WrestleMania 42, because I got a lot to say about this. Okay, so start off Saturday, night one, the first match. You have LA Knight versus the Usos versus Logan Paul, Austin Fury, and ISO Speed. I thought ISO Speed did an okay job. Don't get me wrong. You know, he might have literally had some wrestling training from his last thing. The only thing I was literally freaked out about with ISO Speed, and any promoter would be freaked out, is when he went to the top rope to do the big splash. Now, just to give you a little heads up, now if those tables were like back in the olden days, in a way, if he literally overshot that jump, he could have literally went to the barricade. He could literally have literally seriously injured himself. But knowing that the tables are more centered and flat now, it felt like it's perfect for him to literally do it. And not only that, but technically the tables break easily now. Back in the olden days, they didn't break that easily. Just to give you a little heads up. If you ever got put for an announcer table back in the olden days, yeah, they were made to break, but they didn't break easily. They didn't break by just a little finger tap, and it's broken pretty much. You know. Um, but overall, I knew who was going to win. All matches on Saturday, I knew who was going to win. I should have literally put money down because I literally seen it beforehand. So I knew LA Knight and the Usos were going to win because technically the advertising for the match was Slim Jim. And I just went, well, technically if it's Slim Jim, LA Knight, Slim Jim, they're going to win. Sure enough, I was right. So I literally sat there going, okay. And the match was pretty goddamn quick. The one thing I got to say about WrestleMania, it felt rushed. This does not feel like a WrestleMania. It felt like more like a pay-per-view or a Raw or SmackDown. Some matches felt like a pay-per-view match. Don't get me wrong, but there's multiple matches that felt like a Raw and SmackDown. This match here felt like it could have been on an episode of Raw, and no one would literally give a shit. I hate to say it, but no one would give a shit about this match. And you're gonna say, well, what was the highlight? The only highlight of this match was ISO Speed. That's the only reason why it was a WrestleMania match. But you take ISO Speed out of the freaking picture, it's just a normal match. It's a handicap match, pretty much. That could have been on in any freaking Raw or SmackDown. But yeah, my overall score of the ISO Speed match, in a way, I gotta give it 2 out of 5 stars. And the only reason why I'm giving it 2, in a way, is because of ISO Speed's effort, in a way. I like how they literally finished the match, how he got his revenge on the Logan Paul and everything else, putting him through a table and all that. I thought that was okay, in a way. And overall, the match itself was this kind of a throwaway match, but the ISO Speed stuff literally made up for the whole fact of the match. And that's the aftermath as well. So, yeah. On to the next match. We have the unsanctioned match between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. I literally thought that this match was okay for what it was. But I would have liked to see it more. It felt kind of rushed. I did like that they threw all the freaking chairs in the ring, and you literally had 20 or 30 chairs in the ring. And they're pretty much literally bashing each other with the freaking chair. I kind of like that because it was kind of interesting. But it just felt kind of safe as well. You know, hate to say it, but it really did. It kind of felt kind of a safe match. Like for extreme hardcore match, you're thinking Bob Wire. You're thinking, especially for unsanctioned match, you're thinking Bob Wire. You're thinking literally like maybe some glass. You're thinking like extreme, like ECW style for unsanctioned match. That's what I was thinking. The expectation wasn't really there, but honestly, I'll still give it a three stars out of five. I did enjoy it in a way for the most part of it. Um, do I feel that technically it could have been better? Yeah, I feel that it could have been better. But for the fact of Drew and everything else, and I already knew who was going to win. And before you say no, you didn't. Oh yes, I did. If you literally have WWE 2K26, they tell you who's going to win that match, and you're going to say, wait, how? Because they have Jacob Fatu birthday bash. Now, I kind of literally put two and two together. I literally said, well, Jacob Fatu is going to win because it's his birthday. And I was 100% right in a way. And I feel sorry for Drew McIntyre. I really do. Like, to literally be kicked around, yes, he's still getting a WrestleMania payday, but he's not getting the big push. I feel that he should have still been champion, to be honest. I don't really feel that they should have put the belt on Cody. I feel that Drew versus Randy Orton would have been a bigger WrestleMania at night one, and we'll get to their Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in just a bit. But I feel that could have been a bigger match, but it wasn't, in a way. So, yeah. On to the next match. We have the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Fatal 4-Way match. Now, this was the one where Paige and everything else. It was nice to see Paige return and everything else, aka Syria, but this is where they fucked up, in a way. And this, and honestly, I hate to tell you this, I knew Paige was gonna win the second I heard that Paige signed with WWE. I literally thought, okay, they're gonna put the belt on her right away because that's what they do. They do this. WWE has done this with pretty much any AEW star, to be honest. The second that they come to the company, they want to make them the champion. They want to get as much money as they can. So I literally thought, okay. But literally, what was it? 48 hours before WrestleMania or whatever, it was already announced that Paige has signed with WWE. And I literally thought, oh my goodness, seriously? So you're pretty much spoiling the whole entire main event. They spoiled it on national television. Number one, this is why I literally say social media is killing wrestling, and technically they need to get rid of social media in wrestling. Because you can't do surprises, you can't do anything big. It's killing promoters, it's killing the fucking wrestling business, because you can't literally do the magical freaking thing without someone knowing it. And honestly, yeah. And I would literally write a song about it as well. I would say, social media killed a wrestling star. Might as well write that as a freaking thing because, yeah, it killed the match, 100%. It killed the whole entire vibe of the match. Now, if no one knew that Paige is signed with WWE, if no one knew about it, it would have been a bigger pop. It would have been a big deal, and it would have made the match 10 times better. But because of that, the match kind of was literally just a eh. And honestly, it felt like a eh. And you had Paige versus and Brie Bella versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought that each woman got their stuff in and everything else. It was nice to see. But I hated the finish. I hated the goddamn finish of this match. I hated that Nikki Bella had to use a fucking crutch and break it over Charlotte, in a way, I think it was. And you had Alexa Bliss not knowing what the hell to do pretty much last second, and then literally does the twist of Bliss, Paige gets her knees up. Like, she was up there for literally like 30 seconds. hello, maybe get down from there because you're confused in a way. But it literally made the match feel like stupid in my opinion because of the finish. And because of that, I'm giving it a 1.5 out of 5 stars. I feel that technically, like, that finish ruined the whole entire match. I would have given it a lot higher if, for like I said, they literally didn't, if they hid the pop, and two, the finish was better. The finish killed the match, in my opinion. It was stupid. It shouldn't have happened with the crutch or the clutch or whatever. You know, like, I thought that it didn't need to happen. So I knew it was going to happen anyways, because the second that she's coming down to the ring, it kind of makes it obvious. So yeah. On to the next match. We have WWE's Women's International Championship. Becky Lynch defeats EJ Lee. What can I say about this match? In a way, it's been done too many goddamn times. And honestly, because the advertising again, in a way, the advertising for this one was Wendy's. Wendy's has a redhead girl. Who has red hair? Becky Lynch. So I literally put two together. Before the match started, I said Becky Lynch is going to win because of the Wendy's freaking advertising. And sure enough, I was 100% right. And the way how Becky won, in a way, I literally thought, okay, now they're just building on to something again, in a way, because the way how she won was literally, in my opinion, should have been disqualification. You know, like, she puts the fucking referee in the corner or whatever, or something like that. I'm trying to remember exactly, but it had something to do with the referee. And I know she got into the face of the referee a few times. It literally makes me think that the referee is going to actually challenge Becky Lynch for the title. I guarantee you that's coming. I guarantee you that's what the story that they're telling. It's not Becky versus JJ. It's Becky versus that referee there. They're going to make the referee into a women's champion. I guarantee you that. Just mark my words. I guarantee you that's the story that they're telling, because they're literally hinting that referee has been literally making Becky's life is miserable, knowing that she won the gold and everything else. Now the referee's going to probably literally try to go for the gold. You understand? That's the storyline I see, because like they say, anything can happen in the world and WWE. But yeah, I literally think to myself that match deserves probably a 1.5 as well. 1.5. It was fast. It was boring. There wasn't really a story that they told that was any different than their previous encounters, except for AJ not winning. But AJ literally had their beat literally a few times already. It's just that it got screwed up. So, and then we go on to her husband's match. We go to Gunther versus Seth Rollins, in a way. And I literally thought to myself, okay, this was the match where it felt rushed, in a way. Yes, Gunther won, but you had Braun Breaker coming out to literally spear Seth Rollins. And I enjoyed that. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. And I felt Gunther deserved to win. Don't get me wrong. Seth has already had his WrestleMania moments and all that shit. Gunther, okay. Let's push him. He's the career killer. I understand that. But I felt that technically there was something missing out of that match. And I'm going to tell you what that is. It's kind of like if you didn't have the blood in WrestleMania 13 versus Stone Cold and Bret Hart. Was the blood. I think that they should have literally busted open Seth Rollins and then him tapping out with the blood dripping on his face. I think it would have told a better story, and not only that, but it would have built to something else. And you're going to say, wait, what would that build to? You understand? And I feel that would have built to the Braun Breaker and Gunther, literally versus Seth feud. Because then Gunther could say, well, I made him tap. Well, Braun could literally say, well, I busted him open for you. You understand? So that could literally start it, and then Seth can literally get in the picture, and then they could have a triple threat between the three of them. You know. But yeah, I literally gonna give like Seth Rollins versus Gunther a 2. And the only reason why I'm giving it a 2 because I did like the whole entire idea of Braun Breaker coming in. Even though he didn't really make a huge impact for what he did, and that little run there that he did, like from the ramp and all the way down to spear him, I thought it was okay. In a way, I thought it was okay. So, but yeah, we're on to the next match: Women's World Championship, Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Valkyrie. Now, I knew who was going to win this match as well. And you're going to say, wait, how did you know who was going to win? Very simple. Liv Morgan literally debuted the Trouble theme song or whatever, and I thought, okay, she's debuting a theme song. She has a lot of merchandise. She was a Royal Rumble winner. They're going to put the belt on her no matter what the circumstances are. I was 100% right because at the end of the day, yeah. The one thing I didn't like about the match is that there was too much interference from Liv Morgan's buddies and everything else to end the match. I feel that if Liv Morgan would have won clean, I would have literally put it a little bit higher. But she didn't win clean, in a way. She didn't literally win clean because she needed help by, what was it, 4 of her freaking friends, it looked like? 3 or 4? And I just feel like, yeah, you know. And I feel sorry for Stephanie Valkyrie. I really do, because technically, this was her first career WrestleMania. I understand she was the champion for literally, what was it, 210 or something like that days. And I feel like, you know, like for your first WrestleMania, you probably should have got the win. You probably should have, you know, because you got your first career WrestleMania match in a way. It was a huge moment. But to lose by interference and all that, this kind of makes it feel bad. And knowing that Stephanie Valkyrie is new to the company, Liv Morgan has already wrestled for the company for years now. Don't get me wrong. She's wrestled, she's made her highlights and everything else. She doesn't really need it compared to Stephanie Valkyrie. She actually kind of does need that. I hope that they don't do her dirty next year, in a way. And yeah. But the Liv Morgan Stephanie Valkyrie match, I'm going to give it 2. I'm going to give it a 2. And the only reason why I'm giving it a 2 because there was some back and forth action between the two ladies, even though it lasted less than 10 minutes. There was still a little bit of back and forth action between the ladies. But yeah, that was it for that one. Now we're on to Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee. What can I say about this match? The one thing I can say about the match is that technically it was better when it ended. The whole entire fucking match itself was boring, pathetic, lame. You know, like, even the entrances. You had Randy Orton literally taking up literally the longest entrance I've ever fucking seen. I thought he was The Undertaker for how long he took. Go watch that entrance, in a way. He literally takes forever to get down to the fucking ring. You know, and I'm literally going like this. You know, like, this should have been Randy Orton's last WrestleMania. If it's not his last WrestleMania, it should have been. Because he was just so fucking boring in this match. The ending, okay, that's different. But it was so slow, fucking boring pace match. I can't even believe that this match actually took place at WrestleMania. And literally thought, oh yeah, this could be a WrestleMania fucking main event. You know? And, you know, you have Pat McAfee getting fucking splashed by Jelly Roll. So that's literally the whole entire match, in a way, for, what was it, 5-10 fucking minutes? They kept on showing the same clip over and over and over again. Oh my goodness, Jelly Roll literally splashing fucking poor Pat McAfee. And I already knew that Pat McAfee was going to come back. And you want to know why I knew it? Because they kept on building to it. It's kind of like the Mick Foley situation at King of the Ring 98, in a way, where he took the dive off the Hell in a Cell, but he came back and wrestled. In a way, it's the exact same goddamn thing. You know? And you're going to say, wait, did you know that Cody Rhodes was going to win? Yes. Yes, because technically the advertising for that match happened to be Cody Rand's fucking brand vodka. So if you literally pay attention to the advertisings, they told you who was going to win. They, like, it was pretty obvious. And you're going to say, well, Randy Orton deserves the belt and everything else. Yeah, he probably does deserve the belt. But if you paid attention to advertising, they pretty much told you who was going to win. And whoever bet against Cody Rhodes, I hate to tell you, you're an idiot. Just look at the advertising; it's right there, in a way, you know. And then like the finish of the match, Pat McAfee getting the RKO, and then Cody Rhodes hitting the crossroads right after. If I remember correctly, it took 3 crossroads to put Roman Reigns down, in a way, but it only took 1 crossroads to put Randy Orton down. you know? And I'm literally sitting there going, like, he could have done it 3 times. He really could have, to literally make a stronger finish. Because if you literally watch WrestleMania 40 way back in the day, you've seen him do it 3 times, and then technically that was the finish. Or whatever it was. But to literally put Randy Orton down that easy, in a way. And don't get me wrong, Randy Orton was busted open and everything. But I feel like the story that they told is so fucking confusing and everything else. It didn't feel like they're building to something. And people say, well, Randy Orton's injured in real life. Well, if he's injured in real life, in a way, let me literally tell you this as a wrestling promoter, because I'm not now going to change the focus from wrestling fan to wrestling promoter. If he's injured, hello, don't put him in. I don't care who you are. If he's not medically cleared to fucking wrestle, you don't put him in. You're risking his life, in a way, by doing that. I don't know if you notice, but wrestling is a very dangerous sport. Now, if you're not 100% medically cleared, you're going to get hurt, no matter what. Because you're going to say, well, I'm only 80% healed. Well, even 80% healed, in a way, what if you literally land funny on that injury? Like, say it's your leg. You land funny. You can't come down on your leg. Come down on your back. Your back they're literally one of the most main areas that you're going to land on in a wrestling match. You use I would say probably about 7% of a wrestling match is your back. And then literally 30% is the rest of your body. So before you literally say, well, he had back problems, then why the hell is he wrestling? Same thing with HBK back at WrestleMania 14. He had back problems. He shouldn't have been wrestling. That's my opinion on that. And like I said, if I was to rate the match 2 out of 5. And because the story, I don't understand it. I don't know how many people literally felt the same way. Pat McAfee coming out to literally try to count the 3 and then gets RKO'd and everything else. And then Pat McAfee saying, well, technically, whatever. And not only that, but then WWE literally questioned himself. This is why I literally give it a 2. After the match, they literally said, well, technically, Randy was supposed to win that match. Well, if Randy was supposed to win that match, then why the fuck did he not win? Hands up in the air. I don't know. We're the fans. We're not supposed to know this. In a way. But yeah. So that is WrestleMania Night 1 done. Now we're on to WrestleMania Night 2. I'm sorry about this, but yeah. There's 2 nights. We're on to the Obafemi and Brock Lesnar match. Now, this is where I wish I could literally give this match a lot higher rating. In a way, but I can't. In a way. The match was too goddamn short. I really felt that the match should have been in a steel cage. Fuck would have made sense to me to put this match in a steel cage. And you're gonna say, wait, why? Because I could have told a better story than WWE with a steel cage. And the reason why, because the steel cage breaks, both men literally come tumbling, and you have like a no contest, which would lead to Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi at SummerSlam. That's what I would have done, in a way. And then technically Brock literally retires at SummerSlam, in a way. That's how I would have booked it. Now, how they booked it is that they had a little squash, pretty much. It was a 4-minute match, in a way. Now, given the intake of the match, it was okay. Don't get me wrong. It was okay. Obafemi did win. He was the right person to win, in a way. And then you had the audible where Brock Lesnar retired, it looked like. I feel that he's not retired yet. I feel there's one match, and it's in Minnesota at SummerSlam. And the reason why I say this is because technically, you know, it's pretty much in his hometown where he kind of grew up. It's not exactly in his hometown because he didn't actually grow up in Minnesota, but he grew up close to there. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, and you're gonna say, how do you know this? Because I actually knew Brock Lesnar. Actually, I met him a couple times because I'm actually from that area. You know, like North Dakota and South Dakota are really close to Winnipeg. Just look how close we are. You know, and you're gonna say, when did you meet Brock Lesnar? I met him literally before he got famous, actually. So before the next big fame and all that stuff, I actually met him. And yeah, my dad even thought he was going to be a big star because my dad knew him. So yeah, yeah, I need to lie down. My feet are starting to hurt. But I'm going to give this match 2.5 out of 5 stars for the Obafemi Brock Lesnar match. Like I said, I think the biggest thing that came out of it was Brock literally putting the X at the end of the match and hugging Paul Heyman in the ring. And then literally the hat off to you. You know, you had Obafemi doing that. You know, hats off to you. I thought that was respectful. I respect Brock. Don't get me wrong. I respect for what he has done in the business, in a way. But I feel the reason why Brock Lesnar is retiring is because his name is still mentioned in the Vince McMahon files. That's the reason why he's retiring, guys. Because Janelle Grant literally put Brock Lesnar's name out there again, in a way. And that's the reason why WWE called audible on Brock Lesnar. I still feel that he was supposed to retire at SummerSlam. He might not retire at SummerSlam. That could have been his last WrestleMania, last match, in a way, because of that audible. But if it is, hats off to Brock Lesnar. Much appreciated. But that's the reason why I feel that technically WWE called that, in a way. And you're going to say, no, Brock called it. No. TKO called it. Trust me. They already said that they are in charge of all the decisions. So trust me, they called it. And I feel that they called it because of the Janelle Grant situation. Now we're on to the next match. WWE Intercontinental Championship 6-man ladder match. I thought this match was okay. It was 15 minutes. Like, they all got their high spots, you know, Penta, Ray, Javon Evans, Rusev, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough. It was kind of cool to see Javon Evans, knowing that he's literally like, 21 years old? And he's in the match against all these competitors. And I literally thought, you know, if you're going to put the belt on someone, it might be him or it's going to be Penta. But technically, hours before this match happened, they literally said that they're going to put the belt on Penta. They literally said this. They said it. Not anyone else said it. They physically said that they're going to keep the belt on Penta. And I heard about that, and I literally said, well, that's going to be a throwaway match now as well. You know, what's the point of literally watching a match if you're going to find out the results? And, you know, and yeah. There's a few high spots, you know. I kind of liked Ray breaking the ladder or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool. Even though that spot has been done, there was no new spots in this match. I hate to tell you that. And honestly, what I would have done for this match, in a way, instead of having the Intercontinental title on the line, I would have put the tag team title in a ladder match. And you're going to say, wait, why? Because it was 25 years ago. 25 years ago, WrestleMania 17, that the TLC match literally took place at WrestleMania. Now, to literally honor that, I would have done a TLC match for the tag team champions. Not the Intercontinental title six-pack freaking thing, in a way. What it kind of feels like is that they're doing WWE dirty by doing that. And you're going to say, wait, why? Because it's just a normal match, in a way. Like, this could have been on any episode, on any pay-per-view. It didn't need to be a WrestleMania match. Like, you could literally have put this on Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is literally focused all on ladder matches. So, yeah. What I would give this match? I'll give this match a 3.5. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like I said, it was still an entertaining match, but it was no 4 or 5 star match, in my opinion. You know, like I said, it could have been a good pay-per-view match. Don't get me wrong, but WrestleMania match, I didn't feel it. Okay, on to the next match. We have Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. In my opinion, this was the match where I was bored. I'm not joking. I was fucking bored of this match. What a boring fucking match between the two of them. I knew Trick was going to win. Don't get me wrong. I knew Trick Williams was going to win. Sami Zayn already had his moment in the sun. WrestleMania 40 was probably his biggest moment when he beat Gunther. You know, he doesn't need it. Trick Williams is young. He's like, what, 24 years old? Young, upcoming star. Everyone wanted Trick. He's selling merchandise. He's got the it factor. I knew what he was going to win. So at the end of the day, yeah. But this is where I literally just fell off the rails and said, oh my goodness, this is getting freaking boring as hell. And I got to give it 1 star. 1 star, how 5 for this match, because it was just so goddamn boring. So goddamn boring. This could have been an episode of SmackDown, for fuck's sakes, in a way. And honestly, I would have been would have given it a better rating. But knowing it was WrestleMania, I just went, oh my goodness, why? Why is this literally a WrestleMania match? I don't know. The next match, we had the Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. In my opinion, another throwaway match. In a way, it's another throwaway match. I hate to say it, but it was just so boring as well. Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Should have been literally something better. It should have been something better. You know, this match could have been extreme. Like, it was supposed to be a street fight. I think it was. What? You know, you had more action in the unsanctioned match than you did in this street fight. You know, like, I didn't really see a street fight here. I don't know if anyone else seen a street fight, but I didn't see a goddamn street fight watching this. I literally thought, okay, they got a few weapons, what do you do? And then the match ended. You know, with Finn Balor winning. And I just went, okay. And for that, I'm going to give it a 2-star rating. 2 stars out of 5. What can I say? You know, Finn Balor winning, you know, I guess was the right call. I don't know. Now we're on to the WWE Women's Championship match. We have Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. The one thing I didn't like about this match the most was their outfits. I didn't like Rhea Ripley's outfit for this match. I thought it was quite weird in a way looking. And also, like, Jade. I thought, what? You know, like, Rhea Ripley should be wearing, like, black, purple, dark colors. Like, she's goth. And she's wearing this white outfit. I'm just sitting there going, why? Why is she wearing this? You know, she's supposed to be like this goth, punk, rock, freaking chick kind of. And I'm just sitting there going, who designed this for her? You know? And the Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill match, in my opinion, literally did go over 10 minutes. So so what I do think what WWE did here is that technically the women's matches on night 1 literally didn't go over 10 minutes. So they literally decided to literally give him 10 extra seconds. That's right, 10 extra seconds, because the match was 10 minutes and 10 seconds for this match. And I just went to myself going, seriously? Seriously? You're going to give them 10 minutes to literally do whatever the hell they want? Now, did they have good chemistry? Sort of, in a way. And that's why I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. They had good sort of chemistry. I did like that Jade literally tried to go for the finish, and then Jade Cargill reversed it and hit her finish. Like, the finish was good. Don't get me wrong. The finish was good. The rest of the match was just kind of like unforgettable in a way. Like, you're not going to really tell a story necessarily between the two in a way. I just hate to say it, but it's kind of true. You know. Now we're on to the main event. World Heavyweight Championship match. Roman Reigns defeats CM Punk. In a way. What did I think about this match? Ooh, it was very fucking slow at first. Very slow. It felt pretty obvious what the hell they're doing. What did it really feel like? It felt like the Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton match at first. Very slow paced, everything else. It picked up in the last like 5-10 minutes of the match, don't get me wrong. But I feel like this was supposed to be like the real main event. And people are talking about the steel steps. That should have been a DQ. Now, I'll tell you the reason why I feel that this match needed more than what it should have been. This match should have been a Falls Count Anywhere match. Falls Count Anywhere could have made this a 5-star match. Easily a 5-star match. And because they didn't do that, that's why it's a 3-star match. It's a 3-star match on paper. You know, number one, it was quite slow at first for a good solid 15 minutes. You know, you got the guys hitting each other back and forth. Yeah, they're trying to get the crowd into it. But you also have to realize when you do stuff like that for a long period of time, you're just kind of like not interesting the crowd, you know. So, and then like Roman Reigns winning. I knew Roman Reigns was going to win. They made it pretty obvious. Even during the match, you knew that he was going to win. Because you had CM Punk literally grabbing the freaking Lee, or whatever, from the freaking thing. You know, the Tribal Chief's freaking red freaking thing. You had him grabbing it and putting it on. The second I literally seen that, I'm all like, okay, we know that CM Punk is going to lose because now Roman's got motivation. You know. And don't get me wrong, the reason why I'm giving it 3 stars is because, yeah, they did get their big finishers in and everything else. And like I said, I would give it higher if it was literally like a Falls Count Anywhere match. Like if they would have went backstage, beat the crap out of each other with some weapons, everything else. Like you had Roman throwing the steel steps at CM Punk's head, which everyone thinks that should have been a disqualification. And don't get me wrong, in a normal match, yeah, it would have been. But the reason why they didn't disqualify him in a way, because it was the main event and the title was on the line. So TKO probably said, just let it go to the ref. Just let it go. Just let it go in a way. And, you know, like, I sat there going, is this a WrestleMania main event? To myself, no. It's not. I don't care who you think that this is a WrestleMania main event. It really wasn't a WrestleMania main event. Now, it could have been a normal pay-per-view main event. Yeah. But WrestleMania is supposed to have that it factor, that edge, you know, that pop. It didn't. This match didn't have it. I hate to say it. It just didn't. You know, like WrestleMania 17 had the it factor because you had Vince McMahon coming out and with the Rock and Austin, so that literally had the pop, the it factor. This match didn't have the it factor. I hate to say it. It just didn't. You know. So now that is my WrestleMania 42 review on each match and everything else. Now my overall grade of WrestleMania C minus. And you're gonna say, wait, why C minus? For everything that the wrestling that they did do was just okay. There was nothing special, nothing big, you know, and everything else. Honestly, I could have dropped it down a little bit lower, but the only reason why I'm not dropping it down any lower than a C minus is because technically they still performed, they still tried to put on a show, even though it felt rushed. It did feel rushed. Don't get me wrong. This whole entire WrestleMania was rushed. It literally felt like you're literally playing a video game at some times because, okay, the match is done. The match is done. The match is done. It didn't even have time to breathe. Most of these matches were literally like, okay, it's done. So, but yeah, it's definitely a C minus. The thing I hate the most about this WrestleMania, and I think everyone agrees with me on it, and I literally said it earlier, is that it was advertising mania. There were so many adverts during this WrestleMania. And honestly, night one, I didn't watch live. I missed it by literally a couple hours. So I went back and rewatched the replay of it. And I still couldn't skip the goddamn ads. I don't know who literally thought about this, but I couldn't skip any of the ads. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my goodness, here's another 4-minute ad. Another 4-minute ad. And each ad was 4 minutes, just to give you a little heads up. And they would play them after every match. So 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, 4, 8, 12. you know? So, yeah. But yeah, that's my review of WrestleMania 42. I want to thank everyone for coming out, liking the stream, subscribing, all that jazz. You know, um, I will probably be back on Thursday with WWE 2K26 and everything else. Until then, I'll catch you guys on next one. Later, everyone, and take care.